We had all sorts of commentary this week, including from John Howard, who doesn't come out very often. He labelled this breakup as stupid.
It was pretty clear how he felt about it.
He doesn't mince his words, John.
The weekly wrap is the week in news and what's coming up. I'm Claire Kimball.
And I'm Jodie Spears.
Hard to go past the coalition's post-election troubles, which seem to go from bad to worse.
Holy moly, this really took me by surprise earlier in the week. We talked a bit last week about the coalition agreement and some of the strains between these two parties, but I really didn't see it getting to this. It's only happened 3 times before in history. I think the last time they split up I was in preschool, so I don't have much of a sort of benchmark for it.
You don't remember it? You don't recall it?
I don't recall. I wasn't quite as politically astute at 3 or 4 or whatever I was. Let's just go through what happened here and what was at the crux of the breakup.
Yeah, and I guess a good place to start is what is the coalition agreement. It's a secret pact. It's not something that's published on a website. You won't go to the Nationals or the Liberals website and actually find it. It's a secret document.
And it's flexible, is it? It's not set in stone.
No, so essentially what happens is after an election or when there's a change in the leaders, they renegotiate the agreement. So that's why we're here now. It's come after, of course, a very tumultuous time and they need to reset. So usually the focus, though, of the document is this sort of carve up of the positions. There's, of course, when you're the opposition, you get shadow ministries. By the way, along with that comes money. So if you're a front bencher, you get a bit more in your salary. You also get additional staff. So there's quite a bit up for grabs. And that's usually the focus. But this time, it was really centred on this policy question that the Nats wanted some clarity on.
Yeah, so the Nats had 4 key demands, it seemed, when it came to policy. On Little Proud's list to discuss was this guarantee that the coalition would commit to lifting the national ban on nuclear energy, to start with, laws to forcibly divest the supermarket giants. He wanted the establishment of a $20 billion regional future fund and also some assurance that telcos would provide proper phone and internet services to the bush.
Not necessarily big deals in and of themselves, but the issue is that Susan Lee, as leader of the Liberal Party, she accepted that job last week and she said that all of the Liberal Party's policies are under review. So she isn't in the position to be able to agree to any commitment to those policies because she's told her own party that it's all being reviewed. So that was a problem. The other issue is that the Nationals asked that they not be bound by cabinet solidarity. So they wanted the right to go behind closed doors, have those sorts of conversations about policy, and then come out and say, we actually disagree on all of these things, and that's an issue for team solidarity going forward.
Yeah, that's not something that's usually agreed to, is it?
No, not at all.
We also need to keep in mind that Susan Lee had a lot going on. It's only last week that she was actually locked in as leader, and at the same time she had her mum receiving palliative care and she only passed away in the last week. So she's had funeral plans to deal with, family issues, not to mention her own party and then these discussion with the Nats.
It's a lot, that's for sure. And just to note too, Lee and Little Proud have some history together. So when you look at 2019 to 2022, Susan Lee was the Environment Minister. David Littleproud, as now leader of the Nats, he was also the Agriculture Minister in those days. So those two portfolios have quite a bit of tension against each other. There's some conflicting stakeholders there to manage. So they did come up against each other when they were in the Morrison government days. Also, just note that Lee actually won a seat off the National Party when she first entered Parliament back in 2001. So that was the time when Tim Fischer resigned he retired from politics in the seat of Farrer. So what happened was it was open to the Liberals to run a candidate and she ran for the Liberals. The Nationals, of course, put a candidate up, but she beat them. So there's been this sort of long-standing tension that the seat that she's in should be a National Party seat.
Yeah, and the public isn't necessarily aware of a lot of these things bubbling away in the background. We had all sorts of commentary this week, including from John Howard, who doesn't come out very often. He labelled this breakup as stupid.
It was pretty clear how he felt about it.
He doesn't mince his words, John. Apparently, some of the Nats also started sort of getting cold feet about this decision, and so the pressure was really on. And by Thursday, they had somewhat patched things up.
Somewhat patched things up, we think. We'll have to see exactly where they land. If it comes to a question, if you've got in your mind, like, why is this such a problem? The issue is that the longer you stay apart, the harder it is to come back together. So they want to get that problem. Certainly John Howard and others talked about that a lot this week. You don't want those problems to fester. And the longer you stay apart, the more you're going to say about each other. That's not particularly nice. So, let's patch things back up as quickly as possible. The other issue, of course, is neither party can win government in their own right, and that's the main aim. That's why they're there, is to try and win government.
Yeah, so this isn't just relevant for these two parties and, the internal fighting. This matters for us because this is our, it's meant to be a viable alternative to the government that's in. Do you reckon that they can patch this up in time, though, for people to forget about it before the next election? Is it going to be relevant then?
Oh, look, a lot of water will probably go under the bridge. There's a lot of things to do. But you can just hear Anthony Albanese and various others in the government and on the Labor side bringing this up at every single opportunity about how disunited the coalition, if they do get back together, are. So expect it to continue to be a major one.
Yeah, given them so much ammunition.